Welcome back to Day Trade Like a Pro. It is June 29th, and we're going to go look at the S&P 500. This is the market review. Let's see how the market, how things went today, and we'll go from there. So, a couple of things I'll just point out. I drew in this little area right here earlier in the um, pre-market, and I did talk about that and pointed that out a little bit. So we'll talk about that in a second. But and then we had this line, kind of this trend line that we had drawn in here, and then I said the 79 quarter, and then we talked about some stuff lower. But ultimately, what we said was that we had this 88, and we said that yesterday. In MAP, I think we said it a couple of days ago. We said 42.88 plus, and then the next price I said we had 91, and the high of the day, which happens to be the all-time high, is 42.91 to the tick. So we gave you that this morning in this morning's video. So let me show you if you missed this. So it's a little hard to see, but this is one price. So here's one price from yesterday, and here's one price from today. They're too close together to do anything real useful with them. So let me show you how we use these. One of the little tricks that I taught in the class that we did last week, I think, you basically just take the distance between here at this was 57.75 up to yesterday's one price at 74.5, and you take that right there. Oh, there we go. And that gives you a target up here at 91. And I am betting, I didn't look at this, but let's go just take a look and see if you put a Fibonacci in there and you just look at the midpoint. That's what I would really pay attention to for the purposes of how we're using it. It'd be 82.75. The high of the day yesterday was 82, so a little bit in front of that. But then that gave you a target up here at 91. And I'm actually going to be teaching a course on how this, you would have known this was the probe area, which by the way, we already knew going into the day here. We had drawn in if you drew in the fib here between this one and here, we already knew that 92.5 was the first area as a probe area. But as things got underway and we got some trading going here, we got a probe. We had 91 using the one price, and we had 91 quarter using a method that I'm going to be teaching around prediction points in the coming weeks. So basically, already knew what we were looking for there. We got some pullback that came down into here. And ultimately what happened was we came back down to 77, and then we talked about 79 quarter right here. They held 78 half. I mean, that's 3 ticks. I don't know how accurate you are in your trading, but they held that. So let's talk a little bit about, so what are the trades here today? So 85 is probably the most aggressive area that you would want to buy. And let me just see one thing here. So if you take from here, the top, I don't know, did we, yeah, so right here. So this 85 area is probably the first, kind of the most aggressive area that you would want to buy. And I guess let me just point out one thing here. So usually if we're looking for, I mean, this market, it's a summer kind of slow grinding market. On a 5-minute chart, even on a lower time frame chart, you could kind of treat this as an area of demand. The market moved up here, paused, and then a really big move up out of here. Came right back into it and then took off. And I mean took off from here. So somewhere in here you'd want to buy between here and here. So somewhere in here is really the first place to buy, and your target we'd already been to 81 or 88, so we'd really be looking for a move to 91. So let's just say you buy 85 for 91. It's only 6 points, but it's all the market's really giving. And then if you're not trading short, which I would say if you're not consistently profitable, I wouldn't trade against the overall bigger move. Then really your next trade would be you're probably looking, I don't know that I would buy it in this area again, even though it does come down and touch this, but even if it did, this was like 15 minutes. I mean, it held right there. I just don't know. This is like an hour. I don't know why you would hold through this. It's not really going anywhere. So this trade, maybe worst case, is like turns into break even. So you're buying on a pullback. I mean, this took forever to play out. So a little bit tricky on here, but ultimately it does move through up to the first to the next target. We had 88 and then we had 91 to move to that target. So as it starts to come lower, that's a bit better. This is definitely an area that kind of stands out to me as an area of interest right here. You can see they did come back into that right there, and then nice move back up into here, but couldn't get back up out of this area. And then, so if you bought in here, it went from 82 up to 86, so 4 points. And on these really slow summer markets, I mean, 4 points might be all you get. And then there was a buy opportunity as it came down in here, the 79, 77. Maybe you tried it and it didn't work. Great, get it over here on the, kind of on the back side over here. And there's also a rebuy opportunity right here. So slow market. So if you buy here and you get stopped out, or however you handle that, right? That's kind of your own. And then you get in here, and then you can take some profit where? Well, we talked about this area, and I think I said 83.25 in our map area. So this came back to 83. So it went from 79 to 83. So you got 4 points out of that one. And then it came back down here, and you can buy this, right, basically using this. So let's just call it 81. And then from 81, it went back up to the top of this. And likely overall, it's not done going higher. But just to give you an idea of, those are some of the ways you would do that. And doing that, there's 10, 15, 20 points, depending on how you're managing your trades. But there's 10, 15, 20 points in just taking some of those smaller pieces out of the market when it's sold like that. And as you start to get really good at that and you get consistent with that, well, then you can start doing things like you can start shorting up here and getting this move down here, which is a lot bigger move. But, on a day like today, this is a much bigger move. So, but if on certain days you're trying to short, you're just going to get run over. And as a whole, if we go back and we look at this, if you've been trying to short this since this bottom got put in over here, this was 41.26, and we're knocking on the door of 200 points. We're 150 plus points away from there. And if you've been trying to short this, look how little pullback there has been anywhere in here. So, the easier money is, for right now, it's in buying. And if that changes, and eventually it will change likely, but the markets are really built to go up over time. So anyway, that's my that's how I look at today. That's how I would approach a day like today. So I'll be back in the morning. We'll be doing a pre-market video as usual. I'll see you for that. Thanks for tuning in today, and hopefully this morning's video is helpful, and hopefully that's helpful as we talk a little bit more about how to actually trade what we're talking about in the morning. So, all right, we'll see everybody in the morning. Have a great rest of your day.